Hey, what's up guys, TechTine here and I'm back again with a brand new video. So as promised, I told you guys that I will be making a video review on the Celero 5G Plus. So let's go ahead and begin, but before I do that, I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you are new to the channel, don't be a stranger, make sure you leave a thumbs up, also subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments below what do you feel about this phone. So with that being said, this is the Boost Mobile exclusive Celero 5G Plus, and it is manufactured by the company TCL, but Boost Mobile kind of uses this phone as a way to market their carrier, and it does have these kind of signal boosters. But basically, beginning with the design, this phone is a large phone, no doubt about it. It is made entirely out of plastic. It does have this kind of smooth back to it that is very slippery, and it also has on the back the triple camera setup or the quad camera setup, which we will definitely cover later on. As you can see, it does have the 108 megapixels. We're definitely going to talk about that later on in the video. On the bottom of the phone, you do have your IOs, which is a audio jack, a microphone, your USB-C port that does support up to 20 watt of fast charging, and as well as your loud-facing bottom speaker. And we will also get a listen to it, so stay tuned. But basically, on the right-hand side, you do also get the power button as well as your volume up and down. Now, the power button does double as a fingerprint sensor. It's decent. It's not the most accurate thing, just because sometimes it is hard to click it, and these buttons in general are not really that clicky or tactile, but they're okay, they do the job. So for a phone that is around 240 bucks, this seems to be a promising phone so far. You can get it in two colors, which is what they call twilight blue, and this version, which is kind of the sunrise orange, which is this bright orange that I really think that this color does stand out quite a bit. But like I said, this phone does have kind of a smooth back and it is extremely slippery, so keep that in mind. So for a large phone, I highly recommend the case on it if you don't want to keep dropping it every single time you try and do something on the phone, basically. Transitioning to the display itself, this is a 7-inch 1080p display that is bright. However, it does have this kind of glare issue. So the front panel does kind of glare whenever you shine it at a light, whether it's artificial light or even direct sunlight. However, this seems to be a decent display, so for watching videos, browsing the web, getting on social media, it should be a decent experience as long as that glare does not bother you. And not only that, this display does also support a high refresh rate of up to 120 Hz, so you can choose between the refresh rate being 120 Hz or you can turn it off if you want to save a little bit of battery. But why not live it up? If you have it on the phone, you might as well use it. So again, like I said, when it comes to watching videos and things like that, it's an enjoyable experience so long as you're not in direct sunlight or artificial light. This phone does have a peak brightness of 400 nits, which to some people this might not seem that bright, but to me it seems like a decent overall display. So I don't really have an issue with that. I would say two things that you can take away from this display is that one, it's not the best display that you'll get under this price point. That goes to the Galaxy A15, no doubt about that. The second thing is that the glare issue might be a bothersome for some people. As far as the speaker, I want you guys to take a listen to it and I'll get back to you on some words regarding that. Crazy, which means that keeping this phone clean all the time is going to be difficult. So I do recommend the case on it. One, if you want to keep the back protected, and also on the back you do get a triple camera setup, which we will definitely cover in the camera segment of this comparison. On the bottom of the phone, there is no headphone jack, and you also get your 25 watt USB-C port. So as far as the speaker goes, I can definitely respect it. It does get loud. It does distort at highest volume, but it does the job very well. Let's go ahead and switch topic of conversation and talk about this quad camera setup. So you do get a 108 megapixel main sensor, an 8 megapixel wide sensor, as well as a 2 megapixel macro, a 2 megapixel depth, as well as a front facing 16 megapixel sensor. And the camera protrudes quite a bit. As far as the interface goes, it seems to be quick at taking pictures, so no problem regarding that. And it does take them at HDR by default. And this phone also supports recording video only at 1080p, so no 4K recording or anything like that. As far as the camera quality goes, I don't want to spend too much time on it, and there is a reason for that. So this is not going to be the phone for you if you're looking into buying a phone that has a good camera. So this is where kind of Celero and Boost cut cost. The camera quality, while the hype behind the 108 megapixels is cool and all, you get sharpness, you get detail, it's just the image itself is not that good, okay? And that's basically the bottom line behind this camera. All right. So as far as your performance goes, here's where things kind of get interesting. So this one does use a MediaTek processor, and it's the MediaTek 6879 octa-core chip, and it is clocked at 2.5 gigahertz. You also get a nicely sized 8 gigabytes of RAM, a standard 256 gigabytes of storage, which you do not see at phones at this price point, that's for sure. And did I mention that it has 8 gigabytes of RAM? If I did, here it is again. And you also get a 5000 milliamp hour battery, and also a nice ability, which is, again, you do not see it in phones at this price point. And that is wireless charging. Not only that, but really fast wireless charging. So wireless charging up to 15 watts. So that's a nice feature that, again, you don't really see in phones at this price point. But I guess it's one of those things that's going to help sell this phone. So if we look at the benchmark scores though, just from the chipset themselves, you'll see a 967 single core and a 2422 multi-core, which is right there between the lower to mid-range end of things. And as far as the performance itself goes, it's fine, right? It's not gonna blow your best phone out of the water or the most expensive phone out of the water, but it's gonna get the job done for the most part. However, I did have this phone crash on me more than I like. So I don't know, a software update may help fix that issue, but that's something to note. When it came to gaming and things like that, it did a pretty good job. So it handled gaming very well for the most part. However, it did get a little bit of warm, not too hot, so nothing too uncomfortable, but it did get a little bit warm on me. All right, so with that being said, here's my conclusion on this phone. This is a good phone that is hard to recommend for multiple reasons. The first one being that this phone is really exclusive. So if you're not with Boost Mobile, it's hard to get your hands on this phone if you don't want to be with Boost Mobile as a carrier. The other thing is, if you're not a fan of really large phones, this is not going to be the phone for you. However, there are some things that this phone does right, such as wireless charging, high amount of storage, a nice size of RAM, and a big display if you're a fan of a big display. The other thing that I can recommend also is this phone's track record. So if you know the brand Celero, then you know that they've always created phones that have been somewhat unreliable, in my opinion, right? And this is just based on my personal experience. It's not something that I want to hate on as a brand itself. It's just, in my opinion, they did not have really that good of a track record. Their phones over time slowed down, they crash a lot. They weren't really that good of phones. So for those reasons, this is a decent to a good phone that is hard to recommend. However, I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Tell me what you think of this phone. Would this be a phone that you would buy? Would this be a phone that you would skip? Would this be a phone that you would be interested in? Let me know in the comments below. And with that being said, I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will definitely catch you guys in the next one. Thank you guys for watching.